Chair now recognizes Mr. Kim for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ambassador, for coming out here. I was going to ask you a bunch of questions about the challenges of recruitment, but I have to say, I've really struggled through this through this conversation so far in this hearing. I believe I'm the only person in Congress that served in a career capacity at the State Department. And it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I had great opportunities to do assignments both domestically and abroad. I had the chance to go out to Afghanistan and serve as a civilian out there. And I remember when I returned back from my tour in Afghanistan, I was serving at the Maine State Department, and I showed up to work one day, and there was this white envelope on my keyboard, and I opened it up, and it was a letter that was now informing me that I've now been banned from working on issues related to the Korean Peninsula, because I'm Korean American, and because of my family's ties still there and things like that. And it kind of struck me. I was quite shocked by it. I wasn't even trying to work on anything related to Korea. I was very happy continuing to work on the Middle East. And it was something that really made me wonder whether or not I had a future here at the State Department, whether or not I could continue on if my employer, the United States government, was questioning whether or not I would be able to adequately represent and loyally represent the United States. It made me feel like it was saying that when it came to the issues of Korea, that they didn't know what I would do. And that questioning of my loyalty honestly made me feel like they didn't see me as 100% American. Mm-hmm. And I remember I talked to some of my colleagues and others, and they just told me, hey, look, if you're not trying to work on Korea, just ignore it. And I've tried to figure out where I could go to remedy the situation. There was really no place at the time that I felt like I could be heard. And it made me wonder whether or not I could, I was thinking about maybe applying for a job on the 7th floor to work for the secretary or the deputy secretary, but could I even be competitive for a job if I'm not allowed to work on the issues of the Korean Peninsula, which is obviously a huge issue, but also, again, my question of my loyalty was at stake there. So I guess my question to you is I didn't feel like I had a place to go to at that time. Is your office a place that, had it been in existence at that time, a place I could have gone and sought counsel as well as try to find ways to remedy the situation?
It may well have been. Certainly, we hear from a number of colleagues from around the building on a number of issues. We do not resolve individual problems. We look after systemic issues, but
it's a place where if I've raised these types of issues, you'll be able to look into it and see how we can make the State Department a place better attuned to these different challenges and also understand the perspectives that people bring. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that is correct.
There was other experience that I had when I worked abroad. I was on occasion kind of ridiculed or teased by foreign officials in foreign governments and foreign organizations that didn't think I was American, didn't think I could properly represent America, and then kind of would tease me and say, oh, maybe he could just represent the Chinatowns of America. Is that a place where I could have gone and potentially talked to somebody about how I was being treated and how we could try to work to better remedy these situations, make people feel more comfortable?
Congressman, absolutely. I'm extremely proud that we led the change of policy in the department about how missions treat this sort of behavior that many of our diplomats come across for one reason or another, because of their ethnic background, their racial background, their sexual orientation, their gender, disability, where people question their role as a U.S. diplomat. And
even domestically, I had people in the United States government, both at State Department and elsewhere, when I talked about I worked on Middle East issues, they were confused that I worked on Middle East issues, and some said to me, oh, I didn't know your people would be interested in the Middle East. I assumed you'd want to work on Asia issues. Mm-hmm. Is that something that I could potentially raise to an office like yours to be able to remedy and try to find ways that we can address these issues, make people more aware of that kind of challenge and what kind of hurtfulness that would be driven from that kind of word?
Yeah, if it was something short of an EEO complaint, because if it was, depending on the circumstances, you might better go to the Office of Civil Rights. But certainly that's one of the inclusion, that's microaggression is what it's called, and educating ourselves that we're all on a journey. We can all microaggress against someone else. Yes, we do try and help.
Now, I just want to end here by just saying I was very proud of my time at the State Department, but there's a lot more work we need to do to try to fix these problems going forward. Thank you, and I'll yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired.